What if the Ice Age started tomorrow? Imagine waking up tomorrow morning, stepping outside, and realizing your lawn has vanished under 3 meters of snow. The neighbor's car is now an igloo, and there's a mammoth casually grazing on your mailbox. That's not just a bad winter storm. That's the beginning of a brand new ice age, starting instantly, overnight. Normally, ice ages take thousands of years to develop. Temperatures drop slowly, glaciers crawl forward, and humans have plenty of time to migrate, adapt, and invent warm socks. But if it happened tomorrow, it would be less like a gradual chill and more like nature slamming a giant freeze button on the planet. Within hours, the average global temperature could plummet by dozens of degrees. Oceans would flash freeze on the surface. Rivers would turn to ice before fish had time to say what they, and cities would be buried under snowdrifts tall enough to swallow skyscrapers. At first, people would try to go about their day as usual. You'd see stickmen shoveling their driveways, slipping on solid ice, and swearing as they realized their shovel just snapped in half from the cold. Power grids would collapse almost instantly. Our infrastructure is designed for regular winters, not temperatures cold enough to make steel brittle. Pipelines would freeze solid, water mains would burst, and anyone still relying on natural gas heating would discover their pipes had turned into popsicles. Within days, billions would be huddled in whatever buildings could still provide shelter. But the real catastrophe would be agriculture. Crops die fast when the ground is frozen, and even greenhouses can't survive when the sun itself barely warms the surface anymore. Imagine a stickman farmer carefully planting seeds in the soil, only for the seeds to bounce off the frozen ground like rubber balls. Livestock wouldn't fare much better. Cows and chickens don't do well when the barn is colder than the freezer section at the supermarket. As resources collapsed, mass migration would begin. Humanity would stampede toward the equator, where the climate would still be marginally survivable. Every tropical country would suddenly find itself hosting hundreds of millions, maybe billions of desperate refugees. Picture Brazil with a stickman border sign that reads, "Population. Everyone." Crowds of tiny stickmen squeeze onto the beaches, while others build makeshift huts out of surfboards and coconuts, trying to stay warm in a place that was never meant to have snowstorms. Meanwhile, the physical shape of the Earth would begin to change. As glaciers locked up the oceans into massive sheets of ice, sea levels would drop by hundreds of feet. Whole new land bridges would appear, connecting continents. You could walk from Siberia to Alaska again, but good luck doing it when the wind chill is -80 and even polar bears are wearing scarves. Some adventurous stickmen would try to cross anyway, slipping across the frozen tundra, only to find a giant sign halfway across that says, "Closed due to ice." In the long term, ecosystems would collapse. Most plant life depends on liquid water and sunlight, both of which would be in very short supply. Ocean ecosystems would shatter as the ice cover blocked sunlight from reaching the plankton at the base of the food chain. Without plankton, fish populations would crash, and so would the whales and seals that depend on them. Imagine a stickman penguin sadly holding up a sign that says, "Out of fish." Humanity might survive by eating stored grains, but once those ran out, desperate measures would follow. The world would probably return to a hunting and gathering lifestyle, except instead of gathering berries, you'd be scraping lichen off rocks and calling it dinner. And yet, as always, some stickmen would adapt. Entire cities would move underground, where the Earth's internal heat could keep things warm. Geothermal plants might become humanity's best friend. Nuclear reactors would turn from controversial technology into humanity's last chance at survival. Somewhere near the equator, you'd find a strange new global capital, a chaotic city made of snow huts, solar panels, and endless crowds of bundled-up survivors. So what if the Ice Age started tomorrow? Civilization would collapse within weeks, billions would freeze, and those who survived would cling desperately to the warmest corners of the planet. Our skyscrapers would become ice sculptures, our highways would turn into ski slopes, and our old maps would be useless under kilometers of frozen wasteland. And somewhere, sitting on a snowy beach at the equator, a lonely stickman in a giant fur coat would sip a frozen cocktail and mutter, "Winter definitely came."